Hi, Loretta. Loretta just directed me through a session that we created for the Australian Writers Centre, who were doing their first audiobook production course. It was great.
You did really well. We haven't stopped for days.
Yes.
But all your energy and vibrancy was still in that video. It was beautiful.
Yeah. It has been non-stop.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I do need a bit of quiet time. But it has been fantastic to be able to be involved in so many authors' books. We certainly enjoyed our Spinifex publisher experience. Our first book with Spinifex, who are highly respected.
I adore Spinifex.
Yes, and run by two amazing women who've been in this industry now for 2 years. 25, what am I talking about? 25 years. Who've been in this industry for 25, 30 years. That's extraordinary in the publishing world, in Australia in particular. Lillian Zeden by Cheryl Adams. And that was a book that was 90,000 words long, beautifully narrated by Caroline George, and required a number of accents that were just gorgeous. You know, somebody from London, a young war bride, coming to Australia and having married the classic Australian farmer. I mean, how amazing is that? Beautiful romantic story, all happening just after the Second World War. So that was fun.
Yeah, Caroline doing that accent was on point.
And especially, yes, because Caroline has worked and lived in London, so she had picked up all the nuances and subtleties of that accent. But also, of course, then got, Eric, the Australian dude, and also Aunt Maggie, who is from Echuca or, somewhere like that in Victoria, and be able to sort of like spill out that story. So I often, we've been getting a lot of inquiries from authors sort of saying, well, should I get one narrator? Should I get several? When you see some of these narrators and performers perform, you realize the skill and the craft that is possible. And I do encourage people to have one narrator where it's possible, because there's a kind of fluidity then to the audiobook experience. There's kind of subtlety in all that. So
if you probably think about your favourite audiobooks, it is the one narrator. Well, for me, but
and we certainly know from our stats that it's the voice that carries the message. Sorry, Marshall McLuhan. It is the voice that carries the message. If a person does not like the voice that they hear, then they're going to stop listening. They're going to stop reading. And I still think of it as reading in a way, because it is a written book.
And if they like the faces, they're going to keep watching the video.
Okay.
Sorry, sidetrack. It's dinner time, and
yeah, that's right.
But we have some very interesting, fantastic news.
Yes, we have handshaken a deal with a wonderful publisher, and it's the kind of thing that, is your dream. It certainly was my dream, that I really want to work with a publisher who cares about their authors and is going to treat them with the same respect that I treat the books that come our way, and make it a unique experience. I won't declare who they are yet, but we have certainly going to share and play with a lot of books in the future. So that's wonderful. And in the meantime, of course, we've got 2 new signed up authors.
Yeah.
Which is great. Just wonderful. We have Emma Galston, who's written this amazing book called Our Tom. And it's a fictionalized version of, she has said to me, an uncle of hers who was in World War I. So we're talking about that beautiful period, World War I, and Australians going out to fight this foreign war. And I know from my own background with Greeks that Australian soldiers were always hugely respected. So being able to capture that story is lovely. And I started reading the book, and I have to tell you, it's a rollicking good tale, just full of action.
Haven't got to that one yet. I've missed it.
Yeah, I know.
I'll listen to the audiobook.
Well, that happened very swiftly.
Yeah.
And it happened as a result of actually visiting Port Macquarie and doing a little talk with your favourite friend and mine, Colleen Parker.
So cool.
And Colleen Parker was the editor of Senior Stories, the anthology that was funded by a New South Wales government department. And she also is the president, or hugely involved, with the Australian Fellowship of Authors.
Yeah.
And so she had a quarterly meeting, and she asked me to make a presentation on audiobooks. And it was so much fun. I just think, as writers, I know you can get into a room, you're all a different demographic, different backgrounds, different, age groups.
But the energy's there. The energy's the same. It's the same wavelength.
I know, it's the same wavelength. It's almost like, we're all nerds in this area. Yeah. We all get each other. So it was actually exciting explaining to them about audiobooks, because for them it was like, oh, is it really possible?
Yeah.
And then when we gave them the actual stats about how people are reading books these days, they were astonished and excited.
Yeah.
I love that. I love regional people anyway, but there was just such a hunger and enthusiasm. So, they actually had to reel me out. They said, no, you've got to stop talking now. And they said, no, we wanted to talk. And I said, I want to keep talking. They said, you've got to leave.
Can you imagine? And there is another book, Albert.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And how interesting is that? Totally different. So Albert Gormley, a wonderful ex-teacher who's now retired, and several years ago he wrote a verse saga story that was based in Australia and spills out the story of a boy called Russell. And it's actually really beautiful. It's had some great reviews, and you'll find out more information about it in our e-newsletter. But Albert's very excited about getting this audio booked. I was, just sort of thinking, I might need a bit of time to think about it. No, he's in. And we are going to be auditioning for that very soon.
That's going to be wonderful when he hears the narrator's voice bring it to life.
Yes. And in fact, what's interesting is that, we were talking about, and this is what we do, we really home in on what's the voice that's going to carry this energy. And he was saying, well, maybe it needs to be a big booming voice, because, it's a saga, so you would actually, verse. I was thinking Byron, I was thinking Banjo Patterson, I was thinking, Henry Lawson. You're thinking about those tales that get created and have got a rhythm almost that are attached to them. And he said, you know what, I think even a female could do this. So he's completely open to the whole idea of how that would spill out.
It's good. We like open-minded.
Yeah, we do like open-minded.
we will go many places with that. We never know where.
Whereas Emma, who has put, our Tom, the First World War the tale, was very attached to the idea that she wanted a voice that was a very specific voice. And in fact, she had somebody in mind that she thought we would never be able to get. And it was a person who was working in the UK and who had the type of Middlesex accent that she thought was perfect for the book, because that's where the characters originally came from. And well, of course, I wrote to David Alt and shamelessly asked him if he would narrate this emerging author's book about the First World War. And lo and behold, he will be signing our contract today. So it's just wonderful. We will be introducing the author, Emma, to David very soon. And that's part of our process. Certainly the narrator gets so much out of talking to the author, finding out what was their impulse, what it is that motivates the story, and it allows the author to go, well, this is what this character is like. In fact, Emma actually drew pictures of each of her characters, so that not only will, David be getting the author description forms, the chapter description forms, but also...
We haven't had that yet, have we?
No!
Oh, that's fascinating.
We should do it a lot more. Like, ask people to kind of pick people that they know, or even, from magazines. This is what my this character looks like.
Yeah.
And it just adds, to that experience. Yeah.
That's good, because usually we, in that first meeting, because we obviously want the narrator and author to have that connection and to feel like they're right. And usually what we do is we prompt, what movie star or what famous person. So it's relatable on that level. But I love the whole drawing concept.
Yes.
Because then it's absolutely spot on, and then you can email it or...
Yeah, I think she used a sketch app. And so they're really quite unique, and suddenly they pop out, who these people are. Anyway, that gives you a bit of an idea about our process. We do make it as immersive as an author likes.
And we do try to stick with local talent, though, for narrators. We do, but in this instance, we will...
Look, in this instance, I actually thought, look, I just want to try. I want to give it a go. I want to say to Emma, look, I gave it a go. And I honestly thought he would not say yay. But in fact, he had a little spot that was just right for us. And it intrigued him enough that he would be able to do it. And David Ault, A-U-L-T, has got a beautiful resume of books and a gorgeous voice. But, with Albert, we're going to go out far and wide, and we'll be getting absolutely the right voice.
So any narrators out there?
Get ready to boom. Get ready to tell that tale.
And have that rhythm.
And the rhythm, yeah. Oh, I know somebody's going to eat this up and really enjoy it, who's a narrator out there. I wanted to talk a little bit about Writing New South Wales.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, a few years ago, when I was working at...
We're doing our little ABBA stint right now.
Look, just recently, for the first time, I actually decided I was going to market, and I did an ad in Writers New South Wales. But I wanted to do it only after I really thought that we had systems in place that would be able to carry, the books, the breadth of books. I want to be really sure of our product, and I am so sure. But when I was working with Writers New South Wales about 3 years ago, just before COVID, and I had a desk there, and I'd already started talking to the general manager there and the operations manager about audiobooks, and they were very keen and they were very supportive. So I really wanted to thank them. And they also gave me information that helped me develop exactly how this model would work. They were going, be careful of this, be careful of that, be careful of the other thing. How are you going to make choices? So this was so instrumental. And I respected them so much, and I was so pleased to be able to sort of get into their newsletter and be able to offer a product. And they don't advertise just anyone. They really put you through the ringer. And I came out dry. Dry. Yeah. And it was wonderful. I really respect them as an organisation. All those bodies that carry, writers, and that pretty tortuous, delightful, delicious journey, that writers have, full of torment and full of joy, that only is it's very personal and very private. And it's difficult to explain to anyone else who isn't a writer. So those organisations that carry the hopes, the dreams and skills and the perfection.
We need to protect and cherish them. And
yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Writing New South Wales, for carrying that message. So I think that's it. Have we covered everything?
For now, I think there's a lot on our plates that we're
absolutely
doing.
yeah.
Kristen's been working hard.
I know, she's amazing.
Stop.
She's amazing. She just does all that stuff on the back end that makes the experience for the author seamless, and it is like that. 8 weeks, immersive. You're getting absolutely the most beautiful, perfect voice. A real showcase of Australian talent.
Catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.